Assalamu alaikum. This is the second lecture regarding the blood test related to the cellular content of the blood, that is form element. So what is blood smear or peripheral blood smear? Blood smear is a test basically used for the checking of the abnormalities in the blood cells. And the three main blood cells, as we all know, that these are RBCs, white blood cells, and platelets. CBC gives the general picture of the person's health. However, it is not followed by the testing of the blood smear. Blood smear is usually done at the same time as the CBC can be done, and but it is not the part of the regular CBC. And it is only prescribed or asked by a physician in which there is any disorder which is related to the morphology of the blood cells. What are the learning objectives of this lecture? First of all, we will learn that what is blood smear, what its significance, and what are the techniques. That is blood sampling techniques, which we already discussed, and method of determination. We will not do the method of determination in this lecture, and we will discuss it in detail in the third lecture, which is in the DLC. However, for the pathological disorder related to RBC and platelets, we will discuss in this introductory lecture of the blood smear. So, what is a blood smear or peripheral blood smear? It is basically a follow-up test which detects the abnormalities in the blood cells. And the principle is that that we take a drop of blood which is spread on a slide, a smear is made, and this smear is then stained with a special type of dye to become the cell visible easily under the electron microscope. And then the number, the size and the shape of the RBCs and WBCs and platelets will observe. Blood cells with different shapes or size can help in the diagnosis of different type of blood disorders, especially hereditary disorders like sickle cell anemia, like leukemia, like malaria, etc. So in other words, we can say that this test provides the information regarding the shape of the cells, especially for the RBC, because the number of the RBC we will already determine in the CBC. As far as for the WBC, DLC, they give the number as well, and they give basically the percentage of the each WBC. By the help of this test, the doctor can easily diagnose the medical condition which are involve the morphology of the blood cells. The detailed procedure which will be the same in the third lecture of the DLC, which is the differential leukocyte count. So the procedure will be discussed in the third lecture. What is the significance? As we have discussed, doctor usually write this test when there will be the abnormal results of the CBC, and all the results for the WBC and on the automated apparatus is abnormal. So doctor asks this test, which is the manual one, or the most cases may be the automatic one. Or there are certain conditions which are unexplained, and the reason for the medical condition is not known, like in case of unexplained jaundice or unexplained anemia or abnormal bruising, or due to the persistent flu-like symptoms, or there may be a sudden weight loss of unknown reason, or if the person undergo unexpected or severe infection, or there are relapses in severe infections, or there may be skin rashes or unexplained skin rashes or rashes or cuts or there is unexplained bone pain. So due to these conditions, the doctor can ask to perform the blood smear test. It basically diagnoses the abnormality of the RBC shape and the abnormality of the WBC shape, as well as the abnormalities in the percentage of the WBCs. In the current lecture, we will only discuss the RBCs and platelets. We will not discuss the WBC in this lecture. So, as far as the abnormalities of RBCs are concerned, RBCs abnormalities may be due to the variation in the size, or due to variation in shape, or due to variation in the color. Anisocytosis is basically the pathological condition where there is variation in the size, and depending upon the variation of the size, the mean size of the RBC is about 7.5 micrometer in diameter, and it divides the morphology into two major types, which is the microcytosis and macrocytosis. So either the shape of the RBC is, size of the RBC is small than the normal one, which is the 7.5, or the size of the RBC is the more or bigger as compared to the normal one.
Mean corpuscular volume is the average volume of the cells, and its normal value lies between 80 femoliter to 100 femoliter per cell. If the size is more than 100 femoliter, it is macrocytic, and if size is less than 80 femoliter, it is microcytic.
Microcytosis is basically seen in the iron deficiency anemia, or thalassemia, or lead poisoning, or due to anemia of chronic disorders, while macrocytic RBCs are usually seen in the liver diseases, in hypothyroidism, in megaloblastic anemia, and in the patient which are on chemotherapy or on surgery of the spleen, that is post-splenectomy, in which there is the elevation of the erythropoiesis. Poikilocytosis is a term basically used for the variation in the shape and the variation of the shape of the RBC, that normally RBC are the biconcave disc, and which is found in the large blood vessel. But when they are in the capillary, the shape changes from biconcave disc to the parachute-like conformation. As far as variation in color is concerned, that the color is basically due to the percentage of the hemoglobin in the RBC. And the central portion is basically occupied with the RBC, which is considered as the normochromic RBC. So RBC may be hypochromic, that have an area of pallor that is larger than the normal, are called hypochromic, in which the color is not divided in the whole cell, which is seen in the iron deficiency anemia and thalassemia, etc., especially which is seen in the microcytic anemia. So there are several terms are used for the RBC, which indicates the red blood cell size and shape and color as well. For example, normocytic and normochromic RBC. The term basically defines that the RBC has a normal color and a central pallor. That is a normal hemoglobin content, which is the normochromic. And another term is used, which is called as hypochromic RBC. Hypochromic RBC means that RBC show a central pale area that becomes larger and paler as compared to so that it looks that hemoglobin content decreases, mostly found in case of iron deficiency anemia. And another term is used, which is called as anisochromic. Anisochromic is basically a term in which the person contains both type of RBC, that contains normochromic and hypochromic type RBC. That is, the person is deficient deficient to the iron or in any type of anemia, in which the person has a normal RBC as well as the abnormal lower size RBC, a lower colored RBC as well. Another term is the polychromasia, which is the changeable term, indicates the increased presence of non-nucleated immature erythrocytes, polychromatophilic erythrocytes. These are basically reticulocytes, and they are indicative of the incomplete maturation of the RBCs. The size of RBC is bigger as compared to the normal one, so it is the macrocytic and hyperchromic RBC. This table indicates the summary of the RBCs abnormalities. For example, microcytic RBCs, the reasons are either pyridoxine deficiency, thalassemia, iron deficiency, anemia, and the size of RBC is smaller as compared to the normal one. In macrocytic RBC, the size of RBC is larger as compared to the normal one, and basically it is associated with the vitamin B12 or folate deficiency, or due to the liver diseases, or due to certain type of chemotherapeutic agent like methotrexate. Then we have certain type of hereditary disorder in which spur cell RBC are there, which is the A-beta lipoproteinemia, which is the hereditary disease. But in case of liver disease and in case of post-splenectomy, the same condition can also be done. Blood cell RBC are of spur type or Burr cell type. Spur cell RBC are large RBC which are covered with the spike-like projections, and they are vary in size, and mostly the size is greater as compared to the normal one, and they are basically found in an inherited disorder which is characterized by the decreased deformability, which is responsible for their entrapment and destruction in the spleen. Another hedgehog shaped RBC, which is also a rare disease called as Burr cell RBCs, which are echinocytes, and they are characterized by the minor thorny projections on the whole RBC. They are also appear during the diagnostic procedure if RBC get contaminated by the EDTA, and those then it may react with the EDTA, and artifacts are produced on the surface of the RBC. So they are maybe due to the artifact or due to the EDTA or due to the uremia, which is the chronic kidney disease, or in case of cancerosis of the liver, etc. Then we have schistocytes. Why Burr cell and spur cells are occur in the liver disorders? Because in case of high disorders, there are increased receptors of the cholesterols, and blood cells are bind to these cells and get attached and detached, and due to this, their surface become projected. So one can say that in case of hypercholesterolemia, these cells can be present. A schistocyte is a fragmented part of the RBC, and they are irregularly shaped, and they are present in microangiopathic disease like disseminated intravascular coagulation or thrombotic microangiopathies that generates the fibrin strands, red blood through the red blood cells, and they try to move through the thrombus, and it created the schistocytes. And mostly they are present in the hemolytic anemia, and as a consequences of the mechanical artificial heart valves or hemolytic uremic syndromes, or in case of thrombotic thrombocytopenia purpura. Then we have bite cells, and these bite cells are the D megacytes, or they are irregular membrane. You can see that it looks like certain someone bite the RBC, and mostly it is present in the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme deficiency, and it is unstable hemoglobin disorder, and mostly in this the person is prone to the oxidative damage to the drugs. So in case of glucose 6-phosphate deficiency disease, the person is susceptible even after the use of paracetamol, so that पैरासिटामोल भी अगर वो यूज करेंगे तो फिर वो लोग जो है वो फिर इस तरह का वाइट सेल आरबीसी डेवलप कर लेंगे, एंड इसमें हीमोलाइसिस स्टार्ट हो जाएगी. So for that, paracetamol is avoided in the glucose 6-phosphate deficiency. And many of the drugs, there are a list of drugs which can only prescribe in case of GCPD deficiency. Then we have another type of RBC in which the RBCs are leptocytes. It is also inherited blood disorder, and the person is prone that the person's RBC's shape changes from biconcave disc shape to the elliptical and or oval. Furthermore, if it is not, the cause is not of hereditary, then in case of severe iron deficiency anemia, the shape of RBC become elliptical. Another type are the spherocytosis, which is the presence of the blood spherocytes, and the shape of the RBC is sphere shape rather than biconcave disc shapes, and they are almost found in all type of hemolytic anemia and autoimmune hemolytic anemia. So either it is hereditary or either drug induced. So in case of hemolytic anemia, the shape of the RBC is of sphere shape. Then we have stomatocytosis, which is also a congenital type, and the appearance of the RBC is somewhat bullish-eye. A mouth-like or slit-like pattern replaces the normal central zone of the pallor, and the reason may be the liver disease or the hereditary. Then we have the target cells in which the RBCs are just like the appearance of the shooting target with a bullish C. You can see that center में एक target है, जैसे लग रहा है कि हमें कुछ इसको shoot करना है. These cells are also called as podocytes, and it is a congenital one, and in which in this either the thalassemia is the cause or either the several hemoglobinopathies are there. Hemoglobinopathies are basically the abnormal hemoglobin presentation in the RBC, which are basically result due to either the mutation or changes in the gene code of the alpha or beta chains of the globulins. And there are too many variations of the hemoglobin A, alpha and beta chain has been found, among which we have the hemoglobin C, hemoglobin D, hemoglobin S, hemoglobin H, depending upon the mutation in the globulin chain and the genetic change in the globulin chain. Thalassemia is a blood disorder which is passed through the family, and it makes an abnormal form of or inadequate amount of the hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is this of two type, alpha or beta thalassemia, depending upon the part of the hemoglobin affected. Then we have sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is the disorder is of sickle shape, and again it is a hereditary one, and there are many types of the sickle cell anemia, in which we have hemoglobin SS disease, in which the most severe form of the most common form of the SS, in which both mother and father has the hemoglobin S gene.
While we have other types also, which are SCC or SCD and SCD, depending upon the genetic material of the mother and father. HBS gene, HBSC have the similar symptoms, but it is a less severe type, and in which one gene is HBS and another gene is the HBC. ताकि जो भी हमारे अंदर प्रॉब्लम है वो पेशेंट के अंदर वो डॉक्टर इजीली डायग्नोज कर सके. तो इट इज अ वेरी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड प्रोसीजर to exactly determine that what type of hemoglobin disorder is found in the person. However, the shape of the RBC give insight to determine to diagnose कि कौन सा disorders में है. अगर सिकल सेल है तो सिकल सेल के अंदर भी further सब types हैं depending upon the parent hemoglobin, and the parent hemoglobin may be the purely sickle cell hemoglobin or maybe the mutated one, which is the C hemoglobin, or which is the D hemoglobin, or which is the SCD hemoglobin. All mutated hemoglobin has the less ability of the oxygen transportation. However, hemoglobin C has less tendency to become a sickle. As similarly, hemoglobin D has less tendency to become sickle on the stress condition. In stress condition, when oxygen is low, however, they are easily trapped in the spleen because of their enlarged size or due to abnormal shape. Hemoglobin C is characterized by the substitution of the glutamate by lysine at 6th position of the beta chain, and while hemoglobin D is characterized by the substitution of the glutamine in the place of glutamate at 12th position of the beta chain. We have hemoglobin E as well as hemoglobin E is characterized by the replacement of the glutamate by lysine at 26th position of the beta chains. You can see that just position of the mutation is changed, just one amino acid is changed in the whole globulin length. However, it affects the function of the RBC. In thalassemia is basically characterized by a defect in the production of alpha or globulin chain, and it is also a hereditary. All abnormality in the hemoglobin chain will alter the shape of the RBC, will lead to the hemolytic disorder. Rowlett formation is a normal physiological process in which the RBC become line up due to the sedimentation and under low flow condition or at stasis. The presence or increase in the concentration of the agglutination is basically dependent upon several types of protein which are present in the blood. If the concentration of protein is low or high, it may lead to the change in the sedimentation rate and agglutination of the RBC. Surface properties of erythrocytes play a very important role, and surface charge density strongly influence the extent and the duration of the aggregate. The conditions which are associated with increased Rowlett formation are the infections, inflammatory disorders, and disorders of the connective tissues and cancers. It also occur in diabetes mellitus, in cardiovascular disorders, in rheumatoid arthritis. So any infectious disorder, in malignancy, in lymphomas, in chronic liver disease, whenever there are mediators are increasing, then it will alter the Rowlett formation and increases the Rowlett formation. Besides RBC abnormalities, there are certain abnormalities which are related to the platelets, but this is out of our lab scope, so just remember their name, that are gray parrot syndrome, giant platelet syndrome, or schistocytes, in which the shape of the platelet is somewhat bigger or different as compared to the normal one, but it requires the higher stains. So this is all about. The next lecture will be about the differential leukocyte counts and their pathological problems associated with them. Thank you.